Hello and welcome to the blood sugar diet Q&A. Usually I do this on Wednesday, but today it's Thursday. So today I'll be answering all of your questions as they come in. And I'm so excited to do that because talking about blood sugar and glucose, PCOS, all of that is really the vibe I'm trying to give. So again, if you have any questions, please post them in the comment section. So I wanted to talk about today, to open, something that I think is really leveled against getting healthy for anything. And that's that it's really expensive. It can be really costly. You know, oh my God, it's so cost prohibitive. And while that can be true in some cases, if you think about the three things that I'm going to tell you about, I think that you will probably find that getting healthy and healing feels more accessible to you. So the first thing is I want you to focus on habits and not products. So often, again, when people are trying to get healthy, there is a want to defer to things like supplements and getting the right water filter and, you know, getting this thing or that thing. And while that has a place, oh my God, if you are able to do it, do it. You don't need to buy expensive things expensive products in order to heal. Instead, what you need to do is focus on the habits that are going to help you get results. So if you're trying to lower your blood sugar, for instance, and say even, you know, buying a lot of vegetables and things is just like not in your wheelhouse at this moment, then you need to really lean into some of the other hacks. You need to make sure you're moving your body all the time, whether it's using like weight-bearing exercises, whether it's going for walks after your meals. Like that is going to be a way that you're still going to be able to get the same effect of lowering your blood sugar without having to maybe spend more money on food, which you might not have at this moment. And so that, again, is something that you have to think about. Think about in your life, you know, what things that you can do differently that will come of no cost in terms of like financially. It might come at, you know, there might be a cost that you have to put out in terms of time and such, but you still get the same results. So you have to look at your life that way, because I think that will really help you figure out how to, you know, make getting healthy accessible if you've been wondering how to do it and feeling sort of maybe left out of the mix and trying to do a lot of things and, you know, coming up against some resistance. So again, if you have any questions, post them in the comment section. So that is something that I would highly recommend you consider, because that'll just make you feel better about it too. There's nothing like feeling like you can't afford something, but you know what you can afford to do? Get up and move your body, go for a walk, do some crunches, do some push-ups, do some wall yoga, or wall Pilates rather, that's what I meant to say, because that will, you know, move the needle for you. So think about those things. The next thing that I would say is one of the ways that you can best address the whole, what are the habits that I can implement, is understanding where your issues are. So if you're a person that really loves like a sweet breakfast, you have to create a framework around that so that it doesn't impact your life. And what I mean by that is like, you can still have things that feel sweet in the morning, but you might have to do it differently. You might have to start drinking bone broth first thing and have, you know, like eggs and, you know, like bacon or something or an avocado, and then having, you know, the sweet thing that you like because that's better for your body. That's like what I mean about you just have to create a framework around it. Someone said, oh, good morning from New Zealand. Good morning. Someone said, how about playing sports? Sports is great. Sports is one of the best ways to move our body, and you also get the social benefit if you are doing it socially, obviously. So some of the best exercise for like blood sugar balance and that is not cardio. Cardio is great, but if you have something like PCOS and you're insulin resistant PCOS, doing something like cardio intensively is going to create more problems than it's going to solve. It's going to cause your cortisol response to be crazy, and it's going to, you know, spiral down to your hormones. Your blood sugar balance is going to be affected. It's going to be a whole thing. But if you do something like weightlifting, sports is another one because you're using like bursts of energy, you're using your muscles. It is cardio, so like, it's not like going for a huge run. That being said, doing weightlifting, load-bearing exercise, that tends to be quite good for just like blood sugar balance altogether. And the reason being is like twofold. One is that when you stop doing cardio, it stops working for you. It has benefits, but when you stop doing it, you are, done getting the benefit. Also, the thing about cardio is if you do it too long and you're already dealing with stress issues or cortisol issues, that will create a stress in your life. And a stress in your body that already contributes to the stress that you have, which like makes it worse. So exercise is isn't good for you in that instance. So you just want to make sure that you choose your exercise wisely. I really like doing things like wall Pilates, like I said. It's like really effective. I like weights. I like kettlebells. Sometimes if I have like something super sweet, or like, I just like didn't have apple cider vinegar or something, I'll like, do like 7 minutes of kettlebell swings or something with breaks in between, obviously, and like other things, but I'll just like do kettlebells for 7 minutes. I don't really exercise like that. Like I do exercise, but when I'm doing things like that, I look at it as like a blood sugar balance thing more than, and like if I'm having something like super carby, or I feel like sometimes I stack the habits. So I will have apple cider vinegar before, but I also might, move my body after, do a workout after or something. Good morning from Burlington. Hello from Burlington, or hello from Toronto. Like we're very close to one another. Someone says, I got a week off work to handle massive eczema flare. Any Rex to heal quick? There are no Rex to heal quick. Eczema comes down to like gut and inflammation, and those are not quick fixes by any stretch, but there are some things that you can sort of like expedite in the process. The first thing is any like creams or potions or lotions or fragrance or anything has to go now. Like that stuff is so bad for your skin topically, but it's also bad from like an internal perspective because it's very taxing for your liver to have to detox that while doing all the other things it's trying to do. I would start wearing a castor oil pack this minute. I would wear it at night, overnight. You can get a Queen of Thrones castor oil pack. That's a really great brand. I highly recommend. I would start drinking like elixirs and things, like shots, like things with like ginger, lemon, because those help with like anti-inflammation. Bone broth, like a ton of it all the time, morning, before meals, like whenever you can. Just trying to think of other things. That's a pretty good start. But there's nothing like easy, and like fast. Fast is the wrong word. But there's ways to expedite the process. I also have the skin class workshop. I think it's linked in my bio, link, and that has like all the things I recommend for eczema. But the thing about eczema or skin or anything inflammatory or like gut related is what blood sugar balance will do is it will help to level off, like the consistent like, flare-ups in the sense of like you feel like super itchy right that moment, and if you feel itchy all the time, it will bring that down. And so that's what blood sugar balance does. So balancing your blood sugar does that. It also helps because when you're consistently having spikes and dips in any type of inflammatory journey, you are causing more inflammation when you do that. So when you stop doing that, you are then taking away a lot of the inflammation that is coming, and then you can address the issues like the gut stuff, the other inflammation things you need to be doing or you need to like address. Inflammation and gut is like the gut is responsible for almost everything that's like feeling terrible in your body for the most part. And not just your stomach, but also your liver as well. That's why I highly recommend, castor oil packs. Someone says, be careful with bone broth if you have histamine issues. That is true, but if you take the skin off of the meat sometimes, like also again with histamine. So, I had a salicylate allergy. When I had eczema, that was like part of what was like making my body flare up every single time and like get really itchy anytime I would eat something with a salicylate in it. And salicylates are in everything. You think histamines are bad? Salicylates are like so much worse. And so I gave them up for about like 8 months. And when I was actively healing, I still drank bone broth, but I wasn't getting as much of a problem with them because I was doing a lot of other gut healing things. So yes, bone broth can create a histamine problem or create a histamine flare and like all of that. But what I noticed is as I was healing, it became less like a thing, less of a thing. So that's just like, to answer that question. Someone said, thank you so much. I think that was in reference to the eczema thing. But just again, on the topic of anything that's like inflammatory or like gut stuff, you're going to really want to lean into, again, the habits of it all. So some people, again, they're like, I can't afford a probiotic. It's really expensive. It's like, okay, well then what you have to start doing is making sure that, you have cooked food that is like in your life instead of like a lot of raw things. Raw things are really tough on the gut to digest. And so cooking all your vegetables, stewing your meats, drinking a lot of like things like bone broth, soups, things that are easy for the body to digest, because that is just going to allow the body to just like relax. It's not having to like do all this work. Raw food, it can be very hard on the gut if it's trying to heal something. Another thing would be like learning how to chew your food better, relying on the gut to do less work, meaning you're eating foods that are high nutrient density, of course, if you like as high as you can, attain, but making sure that you chew that food really well. And if you are, having to rely on, you're not able to eat certain things, maybe because they're like, again, too cost prohibitive, like things like beans and grains. The good ones can be really good because those are good source of fiber, very good at they're good for the gut microflora because there's a lot of different like things that the gut bacteria likes to eat in grains and beans. And so, but you need to chew those really well. And so doing that is going to help the gut. Again, those are also, affordable, especially if you get them at like bulk stores and things. Someone said what kind of bones to use. I like chicken bones best. That's like my favorite. I'll have beef bone broth if someone has it and like they are giving it to me, like cool, thank you. But personally, my preference to make is chicken bone broth. So I use chicken wings. I also get like bones from like the grocery store by my house. They're fresh, but a lot of places have them frozen, even the cow bones as well. So it kind of just like depends on what you like. Beef bone broth tends to be a little bit more rich. So people who are like, oh my God, that's like too much, you might like chicken better just because it's not as like, the flavor is not quite as forward as it is with like beef bone broth. So I hope that helps. Should I use citrus in juicing for eczema? Well, lemon juice is great because it helps with liver health. So yes, if you are making any juices or anything, like lemon is the only sweet that you want in there, because again, you just want to really make sure that you're giving your gut all the things it needs and nothing it doesn't. So, if you're going to put apple juice, no, instead you're going to eat the apple and you're just going to leave it out of the juice. Like that's how it has to work with eczema. And again, there's one thing that like, I hate saying this because like giving up salicylates will help with the relief right away. It will. You will have no flare up at all, but it's just very, very, very limiting. I talk about it in the skin class at length, but it is really limiting. You have to be like ready to take that on, but not eating salicylates, you'll like stop getting itchy like right away because it's in every food. It essentially acts as like a, elimination diet. But it's just like very hard to toe the line. It can be overwhelming when you see all the things you cannot eat. So I only recommend if you take the skin class, then you'll learn a little bit more about it. But I wouldn't just straight up recommend, going the giving up salicylates route, only because it can feel really stressful, because they are in everything. So that's an aside. But if you have any questions that are like things, like, again, I do one-on-one coaching, but it's easier for us to like go back and forth in DMs on Instagram. I know that TikTok hates when I say that, only because it's hard to message on here, and I don't even check my messages on here, if I'm being honest. So if you have like, there are some things that are better in a DM, but anyways. Someone says, I made bone broth from beef bones, but chicken is probably a leaner, better option. It's definitely leaner, I'll say that, but I mean, some people use, like, sometimes I'll use chicken wings in my bone broth because I want it to have like a nice, like, meaty richness. And that's not necessarily leaner because I'm using the skin, but I usually skim the fat. I don't drink that. That's usually just like the fat I leave on because it rises to the top and it kind of just like seals the freshness in the bone broth. So when it's in the fridge, it's like, you know, staying at its best. Someone said eating in a relaxed state. Yeah, that's like that's another thing that's like really good for your gut. Also, if you carry a lot of stress, if you've had a lot of trauma, if you have a lot of emotional things going on, it will be very hard to heal your gut. Simply because stress, we carry that in our stomach. It's fight or flight. Our body has released all the blood from our core. It's in our legs and on our arms because we think we have to fight for our life or run for it. So there's just like nothing left for the body to do digestion with. So even asking it to do it when you have a lot of stress that you're carrying is going to be like an uphill battle for sure. I'm just scrolling back up. Is it just water that I cook them in? So the bones. So the thing about cooking like a really good bone broth is like the process. So you want to make sure that you brown those bones because that's going to make it taste really like flavorful. And then it's about, you never want your broth to like boil. You just want it to be on a very low simmer. Like you want to see the water moving, but nothing like rolling boil. None of that. And you want to add a little bit of apple cider vinegar because that will draw out the collagen. And then you just want to give it, I don't know. I have a bone broth that has been going. I'm like going to sort it out after this. That has been going since Sunday. And I'm just like, want to see how rich it is. It's like an experiment. But leave it for at least 8 to 12 hours. I leave mine overnight. I also don't have a gas range. If I had a gas range, I probably wouldn't do that. I don't know. That would just be like scary for me. But if you have a gas range, maybe just do it in the day, wake up in the morning, leave it on, pull it at night. But you can add onion, garlic, you can add anything. You can use like filtered water, tap water, whatever. Just like make it as best as you can. Yes, and someone said in veggies and herbs for flavor. Someone says, I'm a type 2 diabetic and have high cholesterol. So I am not an expert on cholesterol by any stretch, so I can't give you any advice in that regard. But as far as being diabetic and also like thinking about the body holistically, so if you have high cholesterol and you're type 2 diabetic, so you have blood sugar, dysregulation, if you deal with the blood sugar dysregulation, what then happens is you create more energy in your body for it to deal, and for you even, to deal with this cholesterol issue. You've taken that stress off your shoulders. You've taken that stress off your body. If your body's having to deal with two things at once, it's unlikely that it's going to be able to do anything about either. But if you focus on fixing one, you're likely to impact the other simply because you're just making the body a better place. So, again, I can't help you with high cholesterol because my advice is not rooted in anything like of knowledge base. But I would, suggest doing like what I can help you do is the type 2 diabetes stuff because, like I said, creating healthy body kind of creates just a more healthy environment for like healing and getting better. Just scrolling, see if there's any questions. Did I keep adding water to the broth from Sunday? Yeah, I keep adding water. I keep like looking and stirring. I made a chicken on Monday and then on Tuesday I like cut it all up and then I added the remaining chicken, the like carcass from the chicken on Tuesday to the broth that I'd been making on Sunday. And I just like have ran it. Part of the reason was I just had like a super full fridge for like this like project I'm working on outside of like for like another thing. And so my fridge is like full of food. And I was like, I don't have any room for this bone broth. So I guess I'll just like brew it forever and see what happens. But it smells like it's delicious. But yeah, bone broth. And yeah, you can make bone broth in a slow cooker. You can make it on the stovetop. You can make it in the Instant Pot. If you are in like a jam and you really want bone broth now, right this minute, you can pressure cook it, but that heat, your bone broth will never be jiggly and like collagen-y when you cook it in a pressure cooker. It just won't. You're doing that more for the fact that you need it for like a soup right this minute. I do that if I'm like making a soup for work. Yeah, I will absolutely pressure cook the bones to get the broth right now. But if I'm doing it for like health, no, slow cook, the only way. Someone said, I have cirrhosis of the liver. My dad has type 2 diabetes, so we're going to start drinking broth. Amazing. Also, in addition, if you have anything liver related, taking care of your glucose is going to help you tremendously, because when you have excess glucose in your body, it gets stored in the liver. And if your liver is already doing a lot of other things and it's having to deal with this excess glucose, that it's not going to make you feel good. It does not lead to a body feeling optimized and vital. So taking care of your glucose and, being mindful of like what happens before your meals, in the middle of the night, after meals, in between your meals, really helps to alleviate the pressure on your liver and what it has to do. We always want to be thinking about our liver because it does so much. And when our liver is in strife and not feeling good, our body is unlikely to feel good either. And so, thinking about that, like I always think about my liver, not in like a obsessive way, because that sounds weird, but mostly just because I think like, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, what am I going to do for my liver tomorrow? Like I don't really drink anymore, mostly just because it makes me feel like garbage. But if I were to drink, I would do things for my liver like right after to make sure that, I'd wear a castor oil pack, and maybe I would have like lemon and water like before I went to bed that night. I would hydrate certainly and probably eat something because I like to eat before bed. But, just making sure that my liver is taken care of. So doing, that, and nothing like extreme. Like I'm not someone that's going to tell you to like go and do a crazy like juice only liver cleanse or do the master cleanse. Like I'm not here, and I'm not about that. I'm not here to talk about that with you, but just caring for your body is really what this all is. It's kind of a lifestyle, but honestly, like it's a lifestyle you only have to live like 80% of the time. The other 20% of the time, which I don't really share here because I'm like off doing it, is whatever I want. I eat whatever I want. I eat it however I want. I kind of deal with the consequences. I created a good framework around it so there are no consequences, and that's just kind of how it goes. And I think that's how you also have to think too. Once you get to your goal and where you're going, you don't have to be quite as like tight about it. You can be a little bit more flexible. But yeah, in the beginning, you do have to, toe the line. Okay, do I take vinegar before every meal? I don't do it before every meal, only because not every meal requires it. Like some of my meals are perfectly balanced. There's like a lot of veggies to start with, good protein source, and like really good carbs, like good fiber. Like I probably made it here myself. I probably wouldn't. But if it's something that I ordered, like I had ramen last night for dinner, I ordered that for dinner. And so I had an apple cider vinegar, like chia seed lemonade thing before the ramen arrived to make sure that like my blood sugar was cool, just because ramen is so like carb heavy. It's like noodles. So I don't do it before every meal, but if you are having every single meal is very carb heavy, then absolutely. But then I would also challenge you to kind of look at what your meals are saying for themselves if you're feeling like every single meal needs to have apple cider vinegar before it. But again, no judgments whatsoever. But also if you're like always having meals that are like super carb focused and there's not enough protein and there's not enough vegetables, you need to be doing like a bit of a, like if you can, of course, being like reframing what the plate looks like, because that will certainly help you more. Can I explain how castor oil packs work? So castor oil packs help with smooth muscle contractions, and it is like permeates the skin barrier, and that is good for the detox pathways in the liver particularly. And so when you wear it on your liver and it's like a castor oil. You can make one or you can buy one. But when you wear it on your liver, some people wear it for 2 hours with the heating pad over. Some people wear it overnight, which is what I do. What it does is it penetrates the skin barrier and gets to the liver, and it's a very healing oil. And I mean, I am not a castor oil pack expert. You would have to like look up all the science behind it because there is science behind it. But it kind of just like moves the toxins out. So you always wake up the next day after you've morning after you've worn a castor oil pack, and you probably have to go to the bathroom. 1 and 2, like your body is like getting rid of stuff. Some people wear it on their like pelvic area because castor oil pack can help with like fibroids and endometriosis as far as like scar tissue and pain. So they're pretty powerful. The thing about castor oil packs is that you want to be mindful that if you are trying to conceive, you cannot wear a castor oil pack after ovulation. So like you're hoping you like nailed it, and you cannot wear it from that point onward, because castor oil packs, because they do encourage smooth muscle contractions, that's also the uterus, and you don't want any part of that. You also don't want to wear it on your period because it will lead to very, very, very heavy bleeding. Like some people pass out just because, again, smooth muscle contractions and like all of that. It's unpleasant. You don't want to create unpleasantness in your life. So don't wear it on your period. If you're trying to conceive, excellent to wear while you're in your follicular phase. But once you ovulate, and if you are like, actively trying, no more castor oil pack. Someone said, I have an amazing naturopath and she's helping me with my insulin resistance and loved your advice. Oh my God, thanks. She loved the advice that you've given me. I love getting a naturopath seal of approval. That's so great. So that's really again, I think that castor oil packs are fantastic. The thing that I like about castor oil packs too is that you can make your own. Like I have one that I bought just because I saw it. I knew that I just didn't have the capacity to friggin' make one myself. I'm not crafty. I'm not like DIY, like I've never been. So I just like bought one. But you can like look up on the internet how to make a castor oil pack, and you can go get castor oil. It's actually one of the more affordable oils when you think about some of the other ones that are out there. And do one today. I do one every night. Like I was dealing with some post-COVID inflammation, and so I like stopped drinking, started upping like my fish oils and my turmeric, but then I started wearing castor oil packs like every night again. And yeah, I would say the inflammation was reduced in about a month, 5 weeks. But the thing about when you like aren't feeling great and then you start feeling great is that you don't really want to go back. So that's why one of the reasons I just like haven't had a drink since I stopped drinking for inflammation was because I was like, I don't know, I just feel so good. Hangovers are so terrible. I haven't had a good after day of drinking in years. So, I mean, I haven't a way, like the excuse is perfect. Someone says, what can you take for diabetes to see your quicker blood sugar drop? Well, do you mean a blood sugar drop, like an A1C drop, or just like your blood sugar like after meals, like your blood sugar the night? Because that's all kind of different. Like if you want to see your A1C drop quickly, you got to start doing things that you see like that are happening like real time. So what's happening with your post-meal glucose? How you dictate that is what you do before your meals. Are you having apple cider vinegar before meals? Are you walking after your meals? Are you like eating in a good food sequence? Because that will 100% impact what happens to your glucose after. If you don't do anything before your meal, walking, movement, exercise, kettlebells, whatever it is, after you eat will dramatically influence your blood sugar levels. And if you do that day over day over day, your A1C will improve because you aren't like you're just keeping your levels like flat. If you are waking up in the middle of the night, you need to start having like a small snack that has protein and fat right before you go to bed. If it has fiber, even better, but good fiber. So we're not talking like bread before bed or anything like that. That's not it. And so that will help keep you asleep during the night, which will affect your fasting glucose when you wake up in the morning. It will hopefully be better. And then you also need to start having like a savory breakfast and eating like right when you wake up, but savory stuff, eggs, you know, I don't want to say bacon, so I'm thinking like eggs, like cucumber cut up with like, you know, some like fresh Parmesan, like, you know, grated onto it. I love that. That's like actually one of my favorite breakfasts. Just like things that read as savory in your body, drinking a lot of chia seeds, or like not drinking, but having a lot of chia seeds through your day. I put chia seeds in like all my drinks. But they get like slimy, but I kind of like that. So it's like Orbits from the past. I don't know if you remember those drinks, but, it's doing stuff like that. Like if you're doing that for 2 weeks, if you're doing that for a month, you're going to see your numbers go down like impactfully if you're stacking those habits day to day. But it really is like the small habits adding up to the big one. Like you making sure that you keep your blood sugar balance after meals, in between meals, and in the middle of the night, will over time impact your A1C levels. So, but I don't know about quick. I hate to say quick just because everyone's quick is different. You know what I mean? Good bedtime snacks. I personally like having like a little bit of chia seed pudding. I make a delicious fruity chia seed pudding that I really like. It's in my membership. The recipe is in the Glucose Glow Up membership that I have. I really like that. I also like a seed cracker or something with a piece of like Parmesan. I like Parmesan because it has it's not a whole lot of lactose in it. So, you know, it's easy on the stomach. Not that my stomach has a problem with dairy. It has no problem with dairy at all. I eat yogurt and everything just fine. But I just find like before bed, you know, keep it low. I'll also maybe have like a piece of cucumber with like cottage cheese dipped. That's usually how and like a piece of cucumber like cut on the bias so it's like long, and I'll just like dip it in cottage cheese and like salt and pepper and have that. And usually that like holds me. So it doesn't need to be a big snack. It's just something that will keep the home fires cooking inside until the morning time. And you might not need it forever, but it's something that really does help as far as like in the middle of the night glucose. And how you know your glucose in the middle of the night is if it's every single night you wait night to pee, you experience glucose events in the night. So try having a snack. Does coffee spike glucose? So the reason that coffee spike glucose is something that happens when you drink coffee. It causes the muscles in the body to release glucose that it has stored because it presumes that you're going to use that energy. That's why people say, you know, when you drink coffee before like sporting and stuff, it's like a good thing. But if you are drinking coffee and then you're going and sitting on the bus, or you're going and sitting at a desk in an office, and then that glucose is just in your system that your muscles released, then yes, it will spike your glucose. But if you have coffee and you add fat and protein, so collagen and butter, collagen and coconut oil, that will reduce the glucose spike because it helps with slowing gastric emptying. So it kind of like mitigates that whole like effect. Also having coffee after you have meals. So making sure that you've had like a balanced breakfast, you know, it's not on an empty stomach, is also really beneficial for coffee and consuming coffee and not having a spike. And also if you're going to have a coffee, like, you know, walk somewhere. Like I live in Toronto, so there's a lot of walking that happens just like by virtue of the fact of living in a city where people walk. But often if I'm going to have a coffee, it's either I've had like a breakfast before. I have had a breakfast before, but sometimes I'll do it before I work out. So just depends on, again, doing a food and lifestyle audit really helps you understand where your personal like things are, like what the thing is. Like I have to have a sweet coffee every single day. If I don't have my coffee like sweet the way I like it, I feel like my day is off. And when I tried to change that, I just felt like I was having all these days that I just felt off. So I was like, instead of getting rid of that, I need to change the habits around it. So, now when I wake up, I have a breakfast. It has vegetables in it. It has lots of protein. It's bone broth. And then I'll have the coffee. And, if I'm not working out after, I will have an apple cider vinegar drink before I have the coffee, just to make sure that the blood sugar stays balanced for like my morning. But yeah, if you are someone who drinks coffee and you feel like you need more than one coffee every single day, then the coffee is not serving you. The way that you're doing coffee is not serving you, and you need to change it up. I only have one coffee in a day. It's all I need. I do it more for the pleasure and the taste, not for the vibes, because I feel like I'm energized because of other things I do. So again, if you drink coffee and you feel like you need coffee all the time, like 5-6 cups, coffee is not serving you. You have to do it differently. Egg and spinach omelets. Yeah, I love a good savory breakfast. A frittata is always a move I will support, like forever, because you can make them ahead. You just warm them up in the oven or in the microwave, and they're just like delicious. You can pack them full of vegetables and protein, and it's just like an easy, no-brainer breakfast if you make it one time. So that's like a very great savory breakfast. Just want to make sure I'm not missing any question. Someone says sweet coffee. That is my same issue. Yeah, if you love a sweet coffee, like, I don't encourage you to ruin your day by having a coffee the way you don't like it. Just change the way that you do it. I am doing a lot of, like, I know there's a lot of people who, like, vinegar upsets their stomach and they can't do it. So I'm doing a lot of research right now around other, like, things other than apple cider vinegar that can act as another sort of, like, liquid take-in that can have the same effect on blood sugar. So stay tuned for that, because, I'm just trying to bring you all the best blood sugar information. Also, just for everyone, I post these. I figured out how to save these videos. And so I'm going to be posting all of these on my YouTube, which is linked in my bio link. So if you ever want to go back and watch other replays, I'm going to start uploading them to my YouTube, so you can check those out. Someone says, thank you for your videos. So very helpful. Thank you for watching. And someone says, amazing. I'm glad I found your page. I'm glad you're here. Scrolling, making sure I didn't miss anything. Okay. With apple cider vinegar, I need it warm or hot drink. Can't be cold. That has helped the upset stomach. Oh, that's a really good tip. So having apple cider vinegar warm instead of having it cold, less stomach upset. I could see that being very true. Also, the thing though is, like, if you're having it warm, just be mindful of your teeth. It is vinegar. So just like sipping vinegar past our teeth, I just don't, like, in the long run, that's not great. Every dentist would, like, cringe. So that's why I drink it cold, because I can drink it with a straw. But if you can drink your hot drink with a straw or somehow protect your teeth, I would just think about that. But vinegar, apple cider vinegar anyway, anyhow, like, I'm so into it. Someone says I add apple cider vinegar to my morning bone broth. Yum. That sounds delicious. That sounds absolutely delicious. I love that. I make like an immunity elixir broth that has like lemon and turmeric and like bone broth, but it's like savory. It's delish. Someone said my A1C is too high. I love sweets and soda and all the bad things. Okay, so if you love sweets and sodas and all the bad things, there's a couple of things that you need to do. First, you need to start identifying as a person who likes healthy things. I know that sounds like, okay, like very surface and woo-woo, but if you're always telling yourself, I just like love all the bad foods, I can't get out of eating the bad foods, what you're going to do is always be thinking about those bad foods. You have to start to find ways to get excited about the healthy foods that you're going to eat. Is it things that are dupes? So like sparkling water with, like, you can make your own like cola base that is probably way less sugar, way better for you. You're having it over sparkling water. Huzzah. Can you make burgers at home using maybe like a sourdough bun and adding like lettuce, tomatoes, like all of these fresh vegetables that you get? Starting to think like a person who wants to eat these delicious foods. Like, you can still have delicious foods and like heal and be healthy, but it requires some work from you to finding these things and finding what works for you and putting in a little bit of elbow grease on the meal planning and the meal prepping, because you can still have have things that taste really flavorful for you, but you have to it's not going to come as easy as just like driving through a drive-through. And that is the work in this. Nobody said that this was going to be easy, but once you figure it out, then it becomes habit. And whether it's easy or not, a habit just feels easy. So yeah, first start identifying as a person who is someone who likes these healthy things. Someone says, drinking my apple cider vinegar now, dinner time soon. Love that. If I drink chia seeds before a meal, would that help my A1C lower? Yes, because you'll be creating a base of fat, fiber, and protein, which chia seeds have all of. So then again, what you're eating is having less of a impact on your blood sugar because you are going to have delayed gastric emptying because the chia seeds were already present. If you drink, like yesterday, I had ramen, so I made like a chia seed, like lemonade with like a little bit of apple cider vinegar in it. That was all my blood sugar needed. So yes, before meals, and consistently. Lowering A1C is not like, you're not going to lower your A1C by doing all this today and then tomorrow your A1C is lower. Like, these are habits that you are committing to for the next 4 weeks. I mean, your life. Truly, it's a lifestyle. Because if you backslide, if you resolve your A1C, and then you go back exactly to the way you were, you know what's going to happen again. Your A1C is going to get out of control. And so it's like, you have to be thinking like, oh, this new lifestyle. That's why I very much encourage you starting to, again, identify a person as a person who like lives this lifestyle, but finding ways to make this sustainable for you so that you can have the foods that you love, so you can experience life and have a cocktail if you want it, but knowing how to do it within a framework that supports vitality in your body. Someone says that sounds really doable. It's a mindset first. I think I can handle that. Yeah, just get the mindset. Honestly, mindset work is one of the things I'm launching a new course on Saturday called The Ultimate Glow Up. It's like 12 weeks, but there is one whole week just about the mindset of healing. Because if you always think that you're sick, that you never get better, nothing ever works for you, I never figure out how to do things right, no program works for me, you know what? All of those things are true then, because you said them. But if you start to think, okay, I'm looking for a new way, you don't even have to say I'm healed or any of that if that doesn't feel true to you, but just saying I am open to new solutions. New solutions are coming to me. I am open to them. I have the eyes and the ears to listen to new people, new ideas about how I can approach this differently. That's even where it starts. It's just like the basic of it. Because for some of us, when we say, oh, I'm healed, and you're not, it feels very fake. And the universe hates that too. But if you are just saying, I am open to new solutions, I am open to a new way of doing this, I am open to new people to help teach me, then that is even changing the narrative around it. You start to have more of an open spirit, truly. And that matters very much. Because if you're always saying things don't work for me, then okay, I guess they don't. What is do I still have 3 meals? Hold on. Sorry, I missed things. I just don't want to miss any questions. Are lentils good to have? Lentils are great because they have resistant starch. So resistant starch is when you take a carb and because you cook it and then cool it, what happens is those carbohydrate fibers start to turn into a resistant starch, which acts like a fiber in your body, so it doesn't spike your glucose quite as much. It can still have an impact on your glucose if you're just eating a bowl of like lentils that have resistant starch, but if you're eating it within like a lentil bowl or something, it won't have as much of an impact. And lentils have a lot of things, but some people, lentils and those kinds of things like beans and lentils can really upset their stomach. So with lentils, eat them and then see how you feel. If you feel bloated, if you feel tired, if your skin itches, if any of that, then you might have a lecithin issue. So glad I found you. Thank you for your information. So glad for being here. When first starting out regulating blood sugar, do you get lethargic? I have PCOS. You should feel more energized when you're starting to balance out your blood sugar, because after meals that are like complete and full of all the things your body needs and like enough and like are balanced, you should feel energized after. Not energized, not like, oh my God, I'm going to jump off a building, but just you shouldn't feel tired. You should feel like, oh my God, I have the energy resources I need for my day. You should be sleeping better because your blood sugar is balanced and not waking up in the middle of the night. So you shouldn't feel lethargic. You should feel good. I would just be wondering what you're doing. Again, no shade to what you're doing, but just wondering what you're doing that maybe could be impacting like why you feel like that. If you have PCOS and it's post-pill PCOS, so there's like a mineral deficiency and a liver health issue going on, as you are working to reduce that, that might be causing the lethargy, but ultimately you should feel good, like better. But again, I don't know your thing personally. Do I still have 3 meals? Like I personally, yeah, I have three meals in a day. Sometimes I have snacks. I'm not a huge snacker, only because my meals in the morning tend to be, like at every meal tend to be pretty big, pretty complete, pretty like, there's a lot there. I'm an adjunct professor at a college here, and I like also work in television, and I also do this business. So I've been like really busy over the last month because it's like a teaching month, and I've been so off, like not eating as like big of meals, not eating as consistently, like off routine, and my body feels it. So again, I do eat 3 meals. Sometimes I have snacks, but mostly I snack from a place of like, I would like to have that flavor in my mouth, not because I'm like, oh my God, if I don't have a snack, I'm going to die. That's generally not where I'm snacking from. What is the mindset class? So the mindset class is built within the Ultimate Glow Up workshop or Ultimate Glow Up program. It's like a 12-week program that I'm launching on Saturday. And so in it, we cover inflammation, gut, and blood sugar, but also from the science of like healing and wellness. So there's recipes, there's workshops, there's PDF guides, there's guided meditations. It's kind of everything all encompassing that I did and all the like science that I found and research I found to back what I did to heal like my full body eczema breakout, like my stomach issues, all the things. It truly is like my life's work. And I'm not even saying that facetiously, only because like I've been a chef for years. I've been a nutritionist for a number of years as well. And it wasn't until I myself became sick and needed to really lean on my ability to sort of like, you know, practically put all of this food and all of these things together, but also from the point of view of understanding how to look at like studies, understanding how to look at like, you know, nutritional research studies or like scientific studies, because I had to do it when I was learning about nutrition. And so I put all of that into like one place, because I think there's just a lot of like confusion out there. And I also think that there's a lot of courses out there that will teach you something, you know, about eczema or about gut health, and not really encompass it with everything that it involves. Like blood sugar, inflammation, and gut health all go together. But I also think a lot of people don't empower with like recipes and like, you know, this is how you cook this thing and this is how you do that, simply because they don't have the skills. But I do. I'm also a chef. So it's a program that has it all. It's 2-dimensional in the sense that you get the theory, the science, all of that, the protocol, but you also get the practical stuff too. So I'm only taking 6 to 8 people because it's the first round I'm ever doing this. And I want to make sure that it's actually like really good before I like launch it to the world. And then there's also a coaching call with me. Actually, I think 2 coaching calls with me, I'm thinking. I haven't finished everything, but that's what I'm thinking. But again, I just wanted to be one of those places where you start to finally feel like you see the light. Because I remember when I was just like in the trenches, trying to figure everything out, not understanding that mindset was a huge part of it. And then when I finally did understand it, seeing like the difference it made. You know, when I didn't understand what the difference that blood sugar made, and then I finally started working on my blood sugar and seeing the difference that it made. And also being so upset that no doctor or specialist had ever mentioned this to me in my life. And they had seen me struggle for like years at that point. And so, yeah, I just wanted to create a program like that, something that is going to be like a real resource and like a guide and hopefully a light. Because I know that when I found the light in my healing journey, it like changed everything. So that's where the mindset class is going to live. I think it's on week 8 of the 12 weeks. So that's where the mindset class is, long story short. Actually, if you know me, to know is that no story is short. If I say long story short, I'm lying. Someone says, please don't stop doing what you're doing in regards to education. I send so many women to you. Oh, thanks. That's so nice. Also, again, if I don't get to your question, I I'm also posting these on my YouTube, these like live replays, so you can go back and watch the whole thing. Someone says, your house, I want a tour. It's giving Japan vibes. It's not Japan, but thank you so much. It's Toronto. So no Japan here, just Toronto. Regular old Toronto. How much is the class? So for the 12 weeks, I'm in Canada, so it's in Canadian dollars. For the 12 weeks, it's $1,100. And you can do a payment plan for the 3 months for that. Yeah, that's the price. And if you get on the wait list, if you go to my bio link and click my bio link, you can sign up for the wait list, because the wait list is the first that's going to find out about it on Saturday when it opens. And then if all the spots are filled, then they're just like filled from the wait list. But if they aren't, that's when I'm going to like start talking about it to like everybody on Monday. So that. Can blood sugar issues cause hair loss? I'm losing hair around my temples. PCOS can cause hair loss. So I don't know if you are experiencing any PCOS symptoms, because that can cause like male, like androgen behavior. So hair loss, facial hair, things like that. Chest hair in some cases too. But I'm not a hair loss expert. I haven't experienced much about the hair loss thing with blood sugar issues. But when you start to lose your hair and when your nails and stuff start to get crazy, there's definitely something internal going on. One thing I will highly recommend, if you are trying to like be the detective, the Sherlock of your life, and figure out what's going on with your body, get GI mapping done, where they like test your stool. I know it's like for some people it's the ick, but blood tests will miss a lot of things. It'll miss almost every single gut issue where a GI map will catch it. And so, you know, there's a lot of tests that you can just order online and you send in, and they send you a whole chart, and then you can take it to a naturopath and have them help you read it, just to be able to understand what's going on inside your body. If you know what's going on inside your gut, you have a really good picture of what's going on inside your body. So I would highly recommend GI mapping as well. How do you join the program? So again, if you click on the link in my bio here, it'll be the second option to join the Ultimate Glow Up waitlist. You can just click there and then put in your email and your name, and then you'll get an email on Saturday when enrollment opens. Do I think Epstein-Barr virus can be healed through food? Ooh, I don't know. I'm not an expert. I actually knew someone who had that. I actually know two people. My aunt had it, and it came on from just like she had like a very, like there's just something very stressful happened to her, and then that happened. And then I know another girl, and it was after she gave birth, and she just got it right after. But I don't know. I cannot speak to that, and I wouldn't, because I feel like it would be irresponsible if I don't know what I'm talking about. Will there be a new episode on the podcast? So what I realized about podcasting is that it is very challenging, and there is a lot that goes into it. So what I've decided to do this year is focus more on being on some really good podcasts and having really good conversations, in hopes to inspire the same feelings that I had on my podcast without having to do the work, because I just don't have the bandwidth. So I did a podcast on the Everything is the Best podcast with Pia Barancini. It was so good. I will actually link it in my bio because it's a good episode. I haven't done that, but I'll link it there and you can listen to that. And I have a bunch coming up that have already been recorded, and I have a bunch about to record. So lots of podcasts, just like not mine, because I realize my limits. How much is the course? Like I said, it's $1,100. There's also a payment plan for the 3 months. It's 12 weeks. And it's in Canadian dollars because I'm in Canada. But it's noon. So we've been on here for about an hour. So again, if you want to join the waitlist for the Ultimate Glow Up, go click on the link in my bio. It's the second option, and you will be notified on Saturday when enrollment opens. You can also join my free newsletter that you can also join via the link in my bio. And again, blood sugar issues, the blood sugar workshop, there's the skin class, there's so many things. I appreciate you being here, and I will be back next Wednesday for another live. And also check out my YouTube, because I'm going to be posting all of the last lives that I've done like for so long. I just realized how to get it and do that. So stay tuned for that. Okay, everyone. I'll see you next time.